About 3 months ago, I began my 3D game development journey by opening Godot for the first time. After going through a couple tutorials and making a basic controllable character, I decided to set out on my first, moderately ambitious project, to design a game around endless speed. Think about it. What would it be like to have the ability to always build momentum, enough to alter your sense of scale? What would it be like to not only be able to reach astronomical speeds, but be demanded to do so by the game itself? What if I remove every break, every speed limit, every single invisible wall that tells you no, and simply allow you to blast to infinity and beyond? Now, I'm aware that games about gaining lots of momentum have been developed for decades by now. From the classic Sonic the Hedgehog series to racing games and more modern speed titles like Haste, the idea of going fast as a main gameplay hook has been around for nearly as long as games themselves. Yet, my goals for this game do not merely stop at the idea of moving really quickly. They focus on limitless increase in momentum. How would one design a game to accommodate that without breaking? How would one be able to achieve truly endless speed in the first place? That is precisely what I have set out to do with my momentum puzzle platformer, Latent Space. And before we tackle all of those issues, we need to tackle the issue of what a speed limit is in and of itself. Even if a game's core identity revolves around chaining movement, there is almost always some speed a player simply can't move past. The methods different games use to cap player velocity differ game by game, but they fall into two main categories, as I personally call them. Explicit speed limits are hard-coded values that the game keeps a player's speed equal to or below at all times. Any attempt to move faster and the game instantly brings your momentum back to that set limit like a max speed. Implicit speed limits are games that don't contain any technical upper cap on how fast you could theoretically go, but your ways of gaining momentum are limited such that you simply never reach past a certain point. Think Super Mario 64. Mario's speed is never strictly limited, but his movement is too slow to build up any extreme momentum. Except in really fucked up situations. The problem here is that at some point or another, all games reach an implicit speed limit simply by the nature of diminishing returns. Even if a game lets you stack speed boosts indefinitely, each additional speed boost has a smaller and smaller effect on how fast you can actually go. Moving from 1000 to 1010 miles per hour is nowhere near as important as moving from 10 to 20 miles per hour. Now, you might think that if that's the case, then how could I ever make it possible for a player to even reach truly endless speed? Well, the answer is quite simple. Speed in my game is exponential, not additive. Every time you perform a move to build momentum, say, bouncing on the ground, your speed is increased by a multiplier, not a base value. Essentially speaking, the faster you become, the more each additional speed boost makes you faster. Want to know what that feels like? I will tell you right now, this feels fantastic. You get so quick, so quickly, that giant objects that felt immutable in the background suddenly become within your grasp. That being said, since your speed scale can always increase by twice or even 10 times what it currently is with just a few movement options, the game can get out of hand fast. This brings me to my next point. How does one actually design a game to accommodate this power? I might not have all the answers, but I've come up with some pretty good tricks. First, I've designed my two main mechanics both to build insane amounts of speed and maintain control of it at all times. Remember that bounce from earlier? It wasn't just created to give you a speed boost, but to also give you the chance to always make your landings. You see, the problem with going fast in most platformers is that when you gain too much momentum, you overshoot platforms you need to land on to make your jumps. This requires the player to actively eliminate all the velocity they just spent so much effort gaining to actually land safely, which both feels terrible and is antithetical to my game's design. This is precisely why I designed standard movement around a dive bounce, because now it doesn't matter how fast you move above a platform if you can instantly choose to land on the ground whenever you want and bounce forward to preserve that speed. The only thing that changes is how snappy your reaction timing must be. The second half of my mechanical system revolves around latent vector, which I will go more into depth in the second video. To keep it simple, it is a double jump you charge in the air. When released, it allows you to instantly convert all of your momentum into a new horizontal direction of your choosing without any loss in speed. That way, you are never stuck due to inertia. You will never lose the ability to turn because of too much built-up speed. Players effectively gain the ability to pick and choose their direction at all times, opening the door to both powerful player agency and really interesting movement puzzles. Now, great mechanics build great games, but they don't mean anything without level design that harness those mechanics to their fullest potential. I've come up with a handful of unique ways at designing levels to not only contain such crazy speeds, but use them as a requirement to beat each challenge in the first place. Number 1. As the scale of your speed increases, the scale of the world increases to match it. Levels begin slow, with relatively short distances and small platforms. As your speed quickly gets out of hand, however, the gaps between each platform grows from hundreds of units to thousands to tens of thousands and beyond. Each platform grows in scale to accommodate how quickly you move, with each level ending in a giant runway to allow you to build up tons of momentum right before the goal. This escalation in size requires you to grow your speed and keep up pace, to actually make use of your exponential abilities. Number 2. Each level is divided up into separate sections. I know I've just spent the whole video detailing how to make endless speed truly endless, but my game still needs proper pacing and places for the players to breathe. Barring an actual speed limit, which would violate my core principles, I decided to build each level in 3 parts. The player starts off each of them slow, builds momentum to cross ever-increasing gaps, and makes one giant final jump to reach a wall that brings them to the next section. This saves their progress while also resetting their speed, giving them a break in the middle of the action without imposing any kinds of limits to how fast they can move within each section. Finally, the world itself is not built off anything resembling a real location, but an endless, abstract void. This type of style both physically prevents the player from constantly getting blocked or running into walls, while also keeping the world readable at such ludicrous velocity. Here, there isn't anything to distract you or get in your way, so moving through this void becomes the only thing that's important. These guiding principles have helped me turn an abstract idea that's been sitting in my head into something that actually feels really fun to play, even if for a prototype. I've been working on this game for a relatively short time frame, but the more I develop it, the more ideas I get on how to keep improving it and adding content. I'm having tons of fun. Hopefully by the end of the month and the release of my next video, I will have a small demo, a vertical slice for any of you who are interested in playtesting this game. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to take this idea or how far I'll go, but I do plan on keeping this momentum going. Maybe one day I will create a finished game, but until then, you'll just have to stay tuned.